It's all the above, best believe we do it better. I want the fame, the fortune, all the above. I want the checks, the moolah, all the above. From Philadelphia to New York, all the above. Man, tell them other stations they don't do it like us. I want the fame, the fortune, all the above. I want the checks, the moolah, all the above. From Philadelphia to New York, all the above. Man, tell them other stations they don't do it like us. What up?
Hey guys, it's your girl Angel Marie from All of the Above, and I am here with the cast of Godfather of Harlem, the beautiful Ilfenesh Hadera, and the beautiful Antoinette Crowe-Legacy. How are you, ladies?
How are you?
Fantastic. Hi.
I am great. So first and foremost, can you let all of our listeners know about Godfather of Harlem, for those who may not even know what it's about?
Oh gosh, what is Godfather of Harlem about? Where do we even start? Internet, total story of the underdog, 1960s, Harlem world, USA, right? One of the most tumultuous times in the history of our country. We've got, Black people fighting for civil rights. We've got Adam Clayton Powell. We've got Harlem, up for grabs by the Italian mafia and Bumpy and his cohorts. We've got the women that hold it down, Antoinette playing Elise, Bumpy's daughter, me playing Mayme, the woman that holds it all together, right? Our plight for family and for justice and for our own dreams and hopes in the midst of all the chaos that the men are creating.
Well, congratulations on this being season 3. That is an amazing feat in itself. So, Antoinette, can you let us know about your character portrayal of Elise Johnson and how you have developed through season 1 through 3?
Yeah, I think Elise has such an amazing arc in this show. We see her, when we first see her, she is addicted to heroin, which she's been addicted to for many, many years. And she's living on the streets, and she's given up her daughter to be raised by Bumpy and Mayme. And you just see that she is at the lowest of the low. And Malcolm X sort of helps because he's friends with Bumpy and he takes her in, and she joins the Nation of Islam, which is already just this huge jump to go from being on the streets to sort of being in service of other people in the Nation of Islam. And it's such a beautiful, beautiful transition. And then you see in season 2 how, she has joined the nation, but she is from the streets, and we do not lose that. So she got some things she got to fight for sometimes, and maybe not in the best ways, but is always sort of pushing to try to be better and do better. And so in this season, at the end of last season, she followed Malcolm out of the Nation of Islam. And so in this season, I think you really get to see what she's trying to figure out, how she's trying to keep her religion and keep on the straight and narrow, but also trying to push and fight for Black people in Harlem, and how she's trying to keep that religion, but also willing to do what it takes to get things done. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see how far we take that this season.
Oh my God, I love that. Ilfenesh, the question is the same for you as well, of your character portrayal of Mayme Johnson. How have you developed your character through seasons 1 and 3?
There's a real evolution. The beautiful thing about doing a series versus doing a film is that we have all these 3 seasons to evolve organically. We don't have to make these choices season 1 and be tethered to them season 3, because the writing does that for us, right? So season 1, we meet Mayme. Her primary focus is on restoring the home, right? Bumpy has been away for 12 years at Alcatraz. He's just come home. She wants everything to be perfect. They're relearning one another. They've got this nuclear family that she's dreamed of, for all the time that he's been away. And that's number 1 priority: loving mother, supportive wife. But we see towards the end, she's got this desire. She's got this burning desire. She loves her community. She loves her people, and she wants to see them rise. We're in the middle of the civil rights movement. She's working side by side with Adam Clayton Powell to advance her community, right? And we see that through season 1 and season 2, that kind of voice grows louder and louder. This moral dilemma she's having. She's the wife of Bumpy Johnson, who's pumping drugs into their community, but also doing great things. and she's going to church every Sunday and working at HARU to advance the youth in their education and in their, their job opportunities. By season 3, little spoiler, little Miss Margaret might get sent down south because little Miss Demi Singleton is a superstar right now, and we could only get her a few episodes. She's crushing it. Beautiful child. Demi is an incredible young woman. Anyway, I digress. So without Margaret in the home, she's free to focus on her hopes and her dreams, really, fully, for the first time in 13 years or something like that. So we see that evolution of her as a woman outside of Mrs. Johnson and Mama Mayme. And she's got some real soul searching to do this season.
Yes, we're so excited to see the evolution of Mayme and Elise throughout this season. And now that you ladies have wrapped on filming for season 3, have you learned anything new about yourselves as actresses or pushed yourselves beyond your limit to portray or develop a scene or an emotion during filming?
Yes, I have thought, actually, it's amazing that you asked that question. I don't like to talk about myself as an actor. I love to talk about the work. I don't want to talk about Ilf, right? But somewhere season 2, or somewhere between season 2 and season 3, I started feeling like taking up some space, right? As a woman and as an artist. And I watch what the guys do on the show and why they're so incredible at what they do. And it's because they are not rushing their performances. They are there to be seen. When I watch Chaz Palminteri and when I watch Forrest, I see the wheels turning. I see them thinking. And it's like, damn, I want to emulate that. I want to do that. I'm not going to rush the scene to just like get it over with. I'm going to enjoy these moments, right? I'm going to think, I'm going to be present, and I'm going to act like I deserve to be here. And I think until you feel that as a woman, you cannot convey that as an artist. And I think Mayme has, I think she's grown this season because I've grown into my own self as an artist. And I honestly think you can only do, I think your character is limited by who you are as an artist and as a human, period, for me at least. So I feel like there's been a breakthrough, which is exciting. Maybe I'll watch this season and I'll totally disagree with everything I just said, but hopefully that's the case.
How about you, Elise? You ever felt yourself pushing yourself throughout your comfort zone to deliver a scene or emotion?
I feel the same as Ilfenesh. I mean, I have been to a lot of acting school, so I've sort of been through the gambit of all of the things in the past few years, because you're asked a lot is asked of you. But I think similarly to Ilfenesh, I think partially from watching everybody, including for me, watching Ilfenesh and the way that she works, watching everybody on this show and the way that they work and the way that they take up space, and also just having a familiarity with the show and the work at this point, being able to really have a really good relationship with the writers on the show and with our showrunner, and being able to go and be like, hey, I think this is something really interesting that we should explore. I think we should talk about this thing, being able to come in even day of. And I think a thing that I learned from Forrest is he'll come in and he'll be like, hey, what do you think about this thing? Like, do you think this makes sense? Like, do you think we should do this thing? Do you think we try this thing? It's like, you care what I think? Thank you so much. Let's talk about it. Just being able to do that in general, though. There was a scene that I had with Ilfenesh one day where we had to come in and there was drinking and we were moving around, and we got to talk about it and to like change a few things and to adjust it to what we needed it to be so that we could tell the most honest story that we could. And I think just getting that freedom to sort of be able to really live in the moment of the thing and to have this beautiful structure laid out for us, but also be able to play inside of the thing has been a really great change.
Hey, that's authentic artistry right there.
Yeah.
Ilfenesh, if you could describe Godfather of Harlem in one word, what would that be and why? Antoinette's like, oh no.
Oh God, Antoinette, you want to take the lead on this one, baby? God, what would that be and why? Oh, it's just heart.
Mm.
You know, it's everybody on this show has the heart of a lion, right? There is no timidity on here, and if you do have it, you're done. And heart is it's New York, it's Harlem, it's the storytelling. It's just it's what this show is, and it's what everybody puts into it, who makes it both in front of the camera and behind it.
Oh, I love that. And you already gave us an idea of what it was like working on set with Forrest. Antoinette, can you also give us an idea? What was it like working with the cast and crew and being directly under Forrest and Nigel Thatch, who plays Bumpy Johnson in Malcolm X? You already told us that Forrest always got your input on things, so that was a refresher. But can you elaborate a little bit more on what that was like?
Yeah, I think coming in, I was just coming out of school as my first job. And so I think there was a lot of nervousness, especially when you're like, oh, I'm going to go to work with Vincent D'Onofrio and with Forrest Whitaker, and we're going to act. Great, that's cool. So I think for me personally, it's just been really um, I cannot tell you how kind this cast and this crew is. How I came in first season and I was the most annoying little fly in the world. I would ask 97 questions all the time. I would literally be talking to the second AD and be like, "What does this button do?" And they would be so nice and explain everything to me. And everyone was so helpful and sweet and kind. And that has never stopped. Going to work every day to work on the show has been the most lovely experience. And I have heard from the ether that is not always true. I have not had that experience. I've had a lovely time working on this show. Everyone is just so willing to play. And I think that's so important. I think that's what is part of what makes this show so good is you're seeing people alive and present and being kind with each other and working together in the most organic way. So truly, it's just been really wonderful to everyone. And I think that's a top down thing. So from the hiring to everyone who's in this cast and everyone who's on the crew, it's just such a kind and beautiful place to work.
Yes, I love how that was such a humble flex. Like that is your first gig fresh out of school.
Right?
Like, pat yourself on the back. Okay. Now, with this series being based on real individuals, did either of you ever feel pressure on what the viewers or the public would think about your character portrayals?
I can say first that there is not a whole lot of information about Elise. We know that she existed, but for me, I had a lot of freedom to sort of run away with a lot of things. I did read Mayme's book. I did do a lot of sort of cultural and like Harlem context and 60s context. But I think for me personally, I got to like build a lot of who Elise was.
Yeah, no, similarly, you know, there was not a whole lot on Mayme Johnson apart from her book, which we both use as a source, Harlem Godfather. But I guess the pressure was really to make my neighborhood proud, right? So like there are still some people in my mom and dad's building who know and remember or knew and remember, you know, Miss Mayme Johnson and Bumpy. So not to let the hood down. That was the pressure.
That is true. And speaking of the hood, I was going to ask, what kind of impact do you think Godfather of Harlem or just season 3 and specifically would have on the culture in the community?
But I think it's nothing but a source of pride, right? It's this like full dimensional 3D look at Harlem. It's not, you know, we're used to seeing a less than flashy, beautiful version of this neighborhood, which is so unfortunate because, yeah, there's grit and grime like in any city, but it's beautiful and full of soul and heart. You know, the Harlem Renaissance, you know, oh my gosh, Langston Hughes, you know, fabled characters like Bumpy Johnson and Nikki Barnes who are glamorized in Hollywood. Like you can't show the grit, right, without the glamour. It's just, it's not fair. It's not what the neighborhood deserves. So I think to see this with Forrest walking in his Domenico Vacco suits looking so good and fly and swaggy, and people knowing that that's like what Harlem is. It's this quiet confidence Bumpy's never loud or boisterous, really, unless he calls on everyone to be loud and boisterous. So I think it's just great for the morale in the neighborhood. We've got the Godfather of Harlem. What's the rank on IMDb, Antoinette? Like
high. They said it was
like
both
high. Like
Yeah.
this little show on MGM Plus called Godfather of Harlem is high because it's great and it's interesting and it's a story that people want to hear.
Well, I can attest to that. My husband and I watch it faithfully, so we have been waiting for season 3. I'm like, oh,
Amazing.
time.
Yeah.
Now, with you both being the leading ladies of this amazing series, can you reflect on your impact on the culture and community? Have you received any positive feedback or messages from other women just based off of your characters?
Yeah, I think for me, in the first season especially, I see a lot of feedback, I think mostly from actors, I think, who see that first season and see the sort of beautiful arc of that season for everyone, for all the characters, for the things, but even just specifically for my character. And they're like, wow, that's such a beautiful thing to get to portray. That's so interesting that you get to go from being this thing that's on the streets and to being exalted and high and like all these things. And I think that's been a really sort of beautiful feedback. And also just when you're in New York, you know what I mean? When you're walking around New York and somebody's like, I love that show. What's that show? The Godfather. That's really good. I don't know. That always feels really good because I love the city. I'm not from here, but I came here when I was like 10 or 11 because my mom was living here and I fell in love and I'm still in love with the city and I'm in love with Harlem. I think it's so beautiful. If you haven't done it, look up when you're in Harlem. It is one of the most beautiful parts of the city. And so just getting to be associated with that is like so happy making for me.
So go ahead.
No, go, please.
Oh no, feel free. I was going to wrap it up.
No, go for it.
All right, well then you can take this one. So last but not least, for everyone who is ready to tune into season 3 of Godfather of Harlem, how can they do that?
You can tune in on Epix, which will become MGM Plus on Sunday, January 15th, coinciding with the premiere of our season 3.
Yes. Make sure you guys all tune into that. And for more information, make sure you go to our website at www.alloftheabove-podcast.com, where you will see beautiful interviews such as this and a lot more. And you can also check us out on Instagram and Twitter @_alloftheabove1, and we are available on YouTube for All of the Above podcast, where you will see this amazing interview. And I am your girl, Angel Marie, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Angel.
Absolutely, thank you.
Wednesdays at 7, Angel Marie and Kevin playing the illest records, bringing us back together. Philly is all season, swimming through any weather, leaving the track bleeding. When we pull it together, we applying my pressure. I am your new professor, teaching us so some.